Unfiltered, the official Sunderland AFC podcast.
Hello and welcome to SAFC Unfiltered. Today we're going to be featuring a very special guest. It's Danny Graham, who's just joined the club. We'll get round to speaking to Danny in a sec, but let's speak to our resident Danny Collins. How you doing, Danny?
Good, thanks, Frankie. And you?
Very well, thank you very much. I was very lucky to be at the Stadium of Light last night to see Sunderland score 8 goals for the first time since 1956, I believe.
Unbelievable.
Big stat there. We saw goals from 2 goals for Charlie White, one for Feeney, one for Scowen, one for Power, one for Graham, who we're going to be speaking to in a second. Dobson and O'Brien as well. Did you see the game, Danny, yourself? And it's a funny competition, that, isn't it? The EFL Trophy hasn't even got a sponsor this year, I don't think.
No, I watched it. I get, to me, I think a lot of people agree that you've seen it as another game to get some minutes into the legs ready before the season starts, and it was an opportunity for the manager to have a look at a few faces, and new boys coming in. He might still not know his starting 11 for the weekend yet. He's probably, I think, maybe 8 or 9 in his head, and then perhaps last night's result might have tilted it in one way or another for a couple of the lads who were looking to start at the weekend. So in terms of the competition itself, I think, obviously we got to the final a couple of years ago and it was a big day out, but if we're honest, I think it is a bit of a hindrance in terms of what we're looking to achieve this season in terms of getting out of the league and getting back up into the Championship. So in terms of wanting to go far in the competition, probably not, but at the same time I think it's handy for lads if they've been sat on the bench for a few weeks and they're looking for a bit of game time, then it's a good opportunity for the manager to throw some of the lads in it and give them a run out.
And all over the pitch as well, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't just the impressive goal tally, but also the back. I thought they handled themselves pretty well. We had new signing Arbenet Jamajli and also Feeney as well, who came in from Everton over the summer. Both of them looked pretty assured, didn't they?
They did, yeah. And I've seen most of the games in pre-season. I think we're looking fairly solid at the back. Again, Gaffer's obviously looking at going with a back 3, looking at the game so far, and we got 5 centre-halves, I think, so it was good competition, 5-6 centre-halves in there. Obviously, Jordan Willis, experience with Bailey Wright. All the boys have looked pretty good in pre-season, so again, only three that can be out there come Saturday afternoon, so it's tough, but it's a good problem to have at the club, I think. You want competition for places. Lads will be pushing each other on in training, trying to get that shirt for the weekend, and it's good for the club.
And the last pod we did was with now club captain Max Power. He was involved in last night's game and the game against Hull as well, which saw us go out of the League Cup in a very strange, silent penalty shootout. Have you ever been involved in a penalty shootout, Danny? Have you ever put your hand up and take one?
I've been involved in the playoff semi-final actually for Chester against Doncaster in, I'm going to say it was 2003 maybe. Doncaster beat, I was on the next penalty actually. I think I was on number 6 and didn't get that far, so I didn't have to take one for Chester, but we got beat on penalties, so that's the only competitive shootout I'd class as really what I've been involved in,
And what's it like to lose on penalties then?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's disappointing at the end of the day. There can only be one winner from a shootout. I don't think, for me, looking at it, I don't think there's any blame or fault you can lie with the goalkeeper. I think, you're backing the penalty taker to hit the target and to score, really. So, if your goalie can save 1 or 2, it's a bonus for you. But, listen, the result didn't come out for us. I think overall it was a positive display, especially first half. I thought we should have been 2, maybe 3 up at half-time. That's the only sort of negative for us, is that we weren't clinical and didn't put the ball away. But there was some good play, some good performances individually. And, as I said there, put that on top of last night's game. And it's a bit of a headache for the manager, I think, going into selection on sort of Thursday, Friday, ready for the game at the weekend.
Yeah, big game at the weekend, first one in the league. Before then, though, we're going to be speaking to Danny Graham, who's just signed this week, a second spell at the club. How did you see his first spell, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, it's, looking at the reports and people's comments on social media about it, I mean, he got 1 goal in 37 games and, strikers are ultimately judged on goals. it didn't work out for him really. He had a couple of loan spells. He was playing 10, 12 games during the season in fits and starts, so it's not ideal for him. He's had a good spell at Swansea before he came to the club. I think he scored 10 or 12 goals during that season before he came to Sunderland, so he had done well at the top flight. It doesn't always work out for players at different clubs. It didn't for Danny in his first spell. He's been elsewhere. He's obviously been to Blackburn and produced the goods for them. So, thinking from Danny's point of view, he'll see it as a clean slate. Maybe thinks he has a little point to prove and be raring to go to get out there and say prove the doubters wrong. But to come into the league, with obviously us being in League One, he'll fancy him getting himself, if he gets himself fit and in the team, then I'd imagine he'll be looking at getting 15 plus goals this season.
Well, we should ask him all that kind of stuff as we now speak to Danny Gray. Hi Danny, how you doing? You're back at Sunderland. How's it feel?
I'm delighted. I'm looking forward to the challenge. Obviously, everyone knows how hard of a spell I had there last time, so it's one I'm relishing and looking forward to it, and hopefully get this football club out of League One and back into the Championship within my first season.
Yeah, you scored within 24 hours of being announced as a Sunderland player again. How did that feel to get that chimp off your back, if you like?
Yeah, I think it was the ideal start, obviously, to get a goal so early, considering I'd only just signed 24 hours before and I'd not trained a lot. I've obviously been doing running at home and stuff, so I haven't had a lot of football training, so it was nice to get some minutes under my belt and obviously get the goal leading into the start of the season.
What did you think about the game last night? It's the first time Sunderland scored 8 goals since 1956, and you were involved in that. What do you think about the EFL trophy, though? We got the final a couple of seasons ago, but it is it's probably a chance for other clubs to play academy players and stuff like that. But what's the benefits of Sunderland being in a competition like that, do you think?
I think the benefit of Sunderland being in it is gives everyone a chance to play competitive football. If you're not starting on a weekend, and you get a chance to use the whole squad with these games. So if you have a good run in it, and you get a lot of match fitness for everyone, which will hopefully benefit the team throughout the season.
Yeah, Danny Collins, other Danny. Have you ever played in the what was then called the Checker Trail or EFL Trophy this season? And what did you get out of the competition?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, obviously, when I was down at Grimsby, we were in it, and but I think I might have got a rest or two during the competition. Obviously, the Tuesday night games, with me getting into my latter years, mid to late 30s, and the manager obviously seeing it as a chance for me to have a rest. And as Danny's touched on, it's a chance for the manager to have a look at his squad, for some of the younger lads to come out and try and impress, and to push for the shirt for what your class as the first team coming into the weekend, really. Looking at it from the Premier League team's point of view, obviously Aston Villa last night, they're not going to be too happy getting back on the bus, having gotten an 8-1 hiding up here. And it'll have been disappointing for them. It's a learning experience for them to come up and, as you say, to come up and play in the stadium and to play against, seasoned pros, if you like. There's a lot, we had a few out there last night. But yeah, from our point of view, I think it's more minutes for lads who hadn't played last Saturday. And then it might give the gaffer a little headache going into the weekend, really, in terms of his starting 11.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny, you touched upon it on your first interview when you came back to the club, but just how long have the discussions been going on between yourself and Sunderland to bring you back here?
Probably 2.5 weeks it was, back and forwards with phone calls, and I met the gaffer on a couple of occasions as well, so these things take time. It was never about the money side of it or anything like that. It was just making sure I was making the right decision coming back, because it was a big decision to come back. I had a feeling some fans mightn't have been happy and stuff like that. So there was a lot to take in. Like I said, there was a lot of communication, but I'm absolutely over the moon. I've come back, and like I said before, hopefully you can get this football club out of League One and into a higher league.
Who made that approach? Was it the gaffer who got in touch with you? And have you got any past relationships with him?
I haven't got any past relationships with him. I met him when I was at Blackburn. He tried to sign me at Bolton, but I ended up staying at Blackburn, so that's the only time I'd really come across him. But it was great to listen to his ideas and his plans for the season coming, so that helped me kind of make my decision as well.
Since your previous spell at the club has fallen down the leagues and they are where they are now. Do you always keep an eye on your previous teams? Obviously, you're from the region as well. Just what's your thoughts of Sunderland being in League One? Of course, when you were here, we're in the Premier League, weren't we?
Yeah, obviously, to get relegated and then to get relegated again from the Championship must have hurt everyone massively within the club, and obviously the fans and everyone around the place. So it was tough to see. Obviously, my first spell wasn't great, but you don't like to see all teams, falling so massively in the space of 2-3 years. It wasn't nice, and obviously I think this is the third season in League One now coming up, so I think it's time this football club gets back into the Championship and starts looking up rather than down.
Danny, you touched on it there. I was going to ask you the question, and I did notice on your social media you brought up the fact that you're happy, you're delighted to be back up in the North East, but there might be one or two fans who, obviously looking at your previous spell with the club, might be like not too happy with you coming back, if you like. Do you see that now as a sort of chapter to put behind you, start afresh? I mean, what was it? You scored one in 30 odd games, didn't you? But again, you've been to Blackburn. You've been scoring freely at Blackburn. You've been promoted from this league with them. Again, do you feel like you've got that point to prove coming back to the club, or are you just like clean slate and ready to go again, push for a starting place and go from there, really?
I think it's a clean slate, really. Listen, the football club's in a different place to when I was there first time around. I'm in a different place with me football. So, I felt as though it was the right decision to come back. Obviously, I wanted to get everything out in the open, because I knew for a fact it would come up in interviews about my first spell. So, I wanted to make it clear that, fans aren't going to be happy. That's fine. I understand that. That's part and parcel of football. And, there probably still isn't some fans happy now. But the challenge for me is to win them over. I've been in this league with Blackburn, so I know exactly what it's all about. Hopefully, use my experience to help the younger boys. And like I said before, just get us out of this league as soon as possible.
When you were previously at the club, Danny, was there any signs around the club that something like this might have happened, why we've ended up in League One? Was there anything you were concerned about at the time in your previous spell?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, when you're fighting relegation year in, year out, you kind of think sometimes, that luck's going to run out and you might get relegated. If you remember, we had to beat Man United away, Chelsea away, draw at Arsenal. So there was some incredible results to keep us in the league, and you kind of thought that luck might run out, and it did. But to see them fall from the Championship as well the season after was a massive surprise to me.
And of course, it was documented on a Netflix programme as well. Did you catch that during lockdown, or did you follow it at the time?
Yeah, I followed it at the time. I've watched both seasons of it. I'm kind of glad it's not around when I'm here, to be honest. We just need to concentrate on football. I think that's the most important thing at the minute is getting the fans on side, starting the season really well and all pulling in the right direction.
What's your first impressions of your squad mates then, the team you played in last night? You've only been around a couple of days, of course, Danny, but you'll maybe know some of them from your previous shift here at Sunderland. But what's it like in the dressing room?
The dressing room's been great. I'd obviously trained for a week, prior to signing, which was a couple of weeks ago now, and then I went away and we were trying to get the deal sorted out. So there's some good players. We've got obviously Grant Ledbetter, Max Power, Will Grigg, who've got massive experience. Obviously Gucci's still there from my first time round. So the squad's good. I think there's a good mixture of youth and experience which can help us.
And have you been briefed upon any systems you're going to be playing in or anything from the gaffer? Obviously, you'd be pushing to start the games as much as you can. But I think over the last couple of games and the friendlies, we've seen a couple of systems where the gaffer seemed to be quite stuck to a certain system last season. Have you been informed of anything like that yet? Have you been on the tactics board yet?
I haven't, no. I signed on Monday afternoon and I was down the stadium doing pitches and stuff like that, so I haven't really had time to see what sort of formations he's going to be wanting to play. Obviously when I was training I wasn't involved in that side of it, so I'm looking forward to getting to see what he wants, and obviously it's up to me to work hard and get myself as as match fit as I can as soon as possible and push to start.
Touching on that again there, have you as a striker, a lot of people will ask these to strikers and other positions as well, really. Do you have a preferred position in terms of a formation that you like to play? Do you prefer playing up there on your own, or a big man alongside you, say, or just someone off you in the pocket, or what do you prefer? Have you got a preferred system to play, or just as long as you're starting?
Yeah, just as long as I'm starting, really. I've played both. I've played in a 1 at Blackburn for a number of years, and I've also played in a 2 when I was at Watford. So it's not as though I haven't done it in both systems. So whichever one the gaffer wants to go with, as long as I'm starting and worthy of that start, I'll be happy.
You touched upon your ambition is to get Sunderland in the Championship as soon as possible. But do you set any kind of personal marker goals and goals total or anything like that before Christmas or anything like that?
No, you always have a number in the back of your head. Yeah, of course you do. I think all forwards do. A lot of them don't like to mention it, which is fair enough. But first and foremost for me, I need to get some games under my belt and play a little bit of catch up to get match fit to see the best side of me, and hopefully that can happen. And when I do that, and hopefully I can push to be starting as much as possible, and then 15-20 goals would probably be a good return. If we do that, I think we'll have a very good chance of going up. Absolutely.
What you touched upon your fitness there. What kind of things were you doing during lockdown to keep yourself ticking over? I guess you can only do a certain amount of things.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Obviously, you can do all the 5, 6, 7, 8 Ks you want, but it never ever replicates football fitness, and that is the hardest thing to come by. So I'll be looking forward to going in and working hard and catching up on that, and hopefully I can get some more minutes under my belt Saturday and just progress from there.
And will you be moving to the region? Have you always lived in the region, or are you coming back home, if you like?
I've always lived here. Even when I was at Blackburn, I used to stay over twice a week and travel down. So I've always been in the region. I've never really moved since the last time I was here. So obviously it's going to be a nice change, not driving up and down the motorway for a couple of hours. So, obviously that can help me as well in terms of preparation for games. So I'm looking forward to that.
Just one I'll touch on as well, Dan. Obviously, Max Power came on last week, and he was asked a few times about his barnet. Now, who's most likely to get a trim during the season first? Are you just going to stay strong and go with the locks for the campaign, or are you likely to fold and get a little trim in?
There'll be a little tidy up on my behalf, but Maxie's already had his cut yesterday, so he's give up already, to be honest.
Oh, he's crumbled, has he?
Yeah, I noticed that last night. Why has he done that? He must have felt inferior to yourself, Danny, coming in with your luscious locks. He was talking about them.
I think he was a bit jealous, yeah, and he thought it kind of took too long to get to my standard of hair, so he's give up already.
Danny, what is the key to success then in League One? You've done it before. Is there a different style to the Championship and the Premier League? Do you have to play in a different manner? Is team spirit very important in that as well?
I think team spirit is massive. We had an unbelievable dressing room at Blackburn, and also the fans, they got right behind us. Obviously when you're playing teams what the fans think you shouldn't be playing against as a league fixture, they stuck with us massively, and home and away they got right behind us, and once the fans are on your side, it's a massive help in this league, because everyone who comes to the stadium like this year will be like a cup final. They're going to make it difficult. They're going to probably sit behind the ball and wait for the crowd to turn, and we're going to need them to be patient, and if they do that, I'm sure they'll help us massively.
And what was it like playing last night in the Stadium of Light? And last time you played there was probably 40,000 plus people in, but last night it was only a handful of people. And when I read out your name when you scored, there would have been lots of cheers, but there was silence. With all due respect, it was pretty weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, listen, when we went back at Blackburn with to finish off the season, I've already played in the stadiums with no fans, so I'm kind of used to it now at the minute. And it is surreal. Obviously, you go to the Stadium of Light and you expect to see, 30, 40,000 fans, and, there's no one about. It is strange, but we're going to have to deal with that. And if we deal with that, we could get off to a good start.
Danny, you've decided to come back to Sunderland. Just what does it mean to play for Sunderland to you? It obviously means something, because I'd imagine there was a couple of clubs wanting your services as a proven striker, not just at this level, but a little bit higher as well. Why have you chosen to come back?
First and foremost, because, a lot of it was down to me last spell. I feel as though I owe the club something. I felt as though it was the right time for me to like I said before, come back and try and get this club out of League One, and that's the sole reason I come back, is to try and help. I feel as though, you know, I'm in a much better footballing place than I was last time around, so hopefully that can benefit the team and get us out of this league quickly.
Yeah, Danny Collins, why didn't you ever do that? Why didn't you come back and bring your boots?
To be fair, I would have liked to a couple of years ago. Obviously, I say I'm 36, I think, when I signed down at Grimsby, and obviously Sunderland had come back down into League One, and yeah, it would have been nice, as I say, still living up in the northeast, and it was something my agent inquired about, but they already had a couple of lads lined up to come in and at centre half, so that was sort of the end of that, really. But no, I certainly would have liked to have come back for a spell and, you know, try to contribute in trying to help the team get back out of this league. But you know, it is what it is. It didn't happen, and I'm happy to sit alongside you now, mate, and look at these boys and try. Hopefully, they can produce the goods this season for us.
Yeah, we took to Twitter and asked the fans what they wanted to know from you. Normally, it's very sensible questions, of course. You know, I don't know if you use Twitter yourself, so you'd be familiar with how the landscape is there. We'll start easy. We'll start easy, though. At Grassy Man says, what kind of music do you like?
I like the script, to be honest. I like listening to the script. I listen to that a lot in the car when I'm driving around and going into training, so that's my favourite at the minute.
This is from at We Are Wearside. How great was the relief when you scored that thunderbolt against Everton?
Oh, unbelievable, yeah. What a finish. I tried to get out of the way of it. Obviously, it was a relief getting that goal after so long, and, you know, I've never hid behind the fact it was a tough spell, so it was nice to get that goal, but I just wish things had been a bit different.
At what point during your first spell did you decide that you wanted to leave? And that's from at Speak Sunderland.
Good question. It was kind of out of my hands at first. De Canio sort of taught me to leave, and then when Poirier come in and Dick Advocat come in, they kind of all done the same. They taught me to go and train with the 23s, and then they ended up putting me back in, which was down to some hard work. So, you know, obviously when my 3.5 year contract was up, but I knew it was time to leave then, because, you know, things weren't going to get any better.
I don't know if you know this, Danny. I think we've briefed you just before we came on, but Danny Collins has been a bit of a quiz lockdown master. He's been testing the other players in the squad so far on the official podcast. Max Power and Chris Maguire, both, you know, not doing pretty well, to be honest. He's going to ask you 5 questions
I ain't
now.
looking forward to this.
Well, you know, it's very early on. At the minute, it's joint top between Chris Maguire and Max Power on 2. So that's the bar. Danny Collins, it's up to you.
Three to take the leaderboard by storm, mate. You know, you've got some experience under your belt at your age now, mate, so you should have a general knowledge range there for us to have a look at these. But let's see how you go. Right, question number 1. From which port did the Titanic make its one and only voyage back in 1912? From which port did it leave in 1912, the Titanic?
I couldn't tell you any port. Southampton.
Southampton, yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy I've got one I can breathe now.
Good start.
Well done.
Right.
Well done.
Question number 2, mate. How many vertical columns are there on the game Connect 4? Your vertical columns on a Connect 4 board, how many columns are there?
Pure guess. 8.
Oh, crossbar, mate. 7 columns.
Whoa.
Yeah. Unlucky. Question number 3. Which player is the fastest to reach 50 Premier League goals? So which player has reached 50 goals in the quickest amount of games played? Little strikers one for you here.
Oh, good. That was recent as well, wasn't it? I'm sure it was.
No, somebody came close to beating it recently.
Oh, was it close?
It was close, didn't get there.
I'm
sure you'll have watched him. I'm sure you'll have watched him in your time.
I kind of want to say someone, but I don't want to say someone.
Well, you'll have to say someone. Come on.
50 quickest. I'll go Van Nistelrooy.
Oh, Andy Cole. Yeah. Oh, wow. 65 games. 50 goals in 65 games, mate. Yeah.
Is that all it took him?
Yeah.
Wow.
See, I thought you
that is incredible.
Newcastle fan and that you might have been on that one. Question number 4. How many hurdles are there in the 110-metre hurdles race?
10.
Correct. 10 hurdles, yes. So what's he on there, Frank? Is he on 2 out? He's on 2 out of 4.
2.
He needs this one. This
Oh,
one
come
to take
on.
the top spot.
Come on.
Right. Question number 5. What colour is the diamond on the flag of Brazil?
Blue.
Incorrect.
Oh, what a whopper I am.
The flag is the diamond.
Oh, is it
It's yellow. I think the ball's blue on the flag. Yeah, the diamond.
Oh my God! I swear I was going to say yellow, but I thought it can't be because of the.
Yes. So we still have a tie.
I'll take 2. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, we still got a tie at the top of the board. 2 out of 5, par for the course.
Yeah,
good effort,
we
mate.
need to get some intelligent players on quickly.
Yeah. So hey, good effort though. Good out the blocks with the Southampton one, weren't you?
Oh, that was a full-on guess. That I'm not going to lie.
That was good.
A full-on
That was
guess.
good.
Good effort, mate. Well done. Well done.
Some good
All
questions
the best
there,
for the season,
fair
mate. Yeah. Well done, mate. Yeah. So get them scoring boots on, mate, and I wish you well for the season.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, mate.
Danny, thanks so much for joining us on the official podcast. Of course, we wish you well with everything.
Thank you.
Your new spell at Sunderland, and hopefully we'll see a promotion at the end of the season.
Let's hope so. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
So that was Danny Graham, not just answering questions from ourselves, but from you guys as well, from Twitter. Remember to keep an eye out for that. We'll be always asking the supporters for their questions, for the guests here on Unfiltered. Andy, does your questions as well in the quiz. How did you rate him in the quiz there first, Danny?
Well, he's average for the course at the minute, isn't he? With the old 2 out of 5. But no, he got off to a good start. Bit of a potluck guess at the Southampton one for the Titanic, and came close on a couple of others. But yeah, 2 out of 5. We're still waiting for someone to break that 3 mark, aren't we?
He's
at the
joint
minute?
top.
Joint top, yeah.
He's joint top at the minute.
Joint top and
Yeah.
joint bottom at the minute. So yeah, we'll get through some of the boys, as you say. Someone's got to step up and at least get 3 out of 5 at some stage, haven't they? So we'll see how we go.
Yeah, we will see how we go. But thoughts on Danny's second spell at Sunderland? He seems to really wants to right those wrongs, doesn't he?
Yeah, he touched on it. I say an honest interview, if you like, coming on in terms of, he mentioned it himself before we were going to pose the question in terms of, you know, the fans have questioned about him coming back because of what happened in his first spell at the club, and he's not hid behind anything like that, if you like, and he was open about it, and he said, yeah, it didn't work out for me, but I'm here again now, fresh start, and I'm looking forward to it, and not feels like he owes the club one in a way, but feels that he could be a big part of getting this club back to where it should be, and well, certainly at least in the Championship, so fair play to him. Thought he come across well, and hopefully, as you say, that he can get his scoring boots on, he can go out there and produce the goods for us.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope he does well for us. Of course, first league game at the weekend at home to Bristol Rovers. How do you see that one going, Danny?
Well, I know you can't really go off pre-season, but I do feel that the boys have looked fairly confident in the last couple of games, which is good. You take that confidence into the first game of the season. Albeit, yes, we were playing a young Villa side last night, and the scoreline, doesn't reflect how it could go at the weekend, but breeds confidence into there. Goals are coming from different areas of the pitch, and strikers will be confident, I'm sure. And it'd be interesting for the team selection come 2:20 on Saturday, and I think we owe them one as well, because obviously before lockdown they beat us at their patch, and you do, as a player, well, certainly I did, you always look at your last results against the previous side and think, right lads, come on, max power, these boys will be in the changing room on Saturday. We owe these lads one after what happened at the end of last season, so hopefully, again, we get out the blocks, we get off to a good start like we did against Hull at the weekend, and we're free scoring and get the 3 points on the board early.
Absolutely. We wish the team very well this weekend in the first league fixture. Join us next time on Unfiltered. I believe, Danny, you've been hitting up some of your contacts, shall we say, to try and bring some specials in on Unfiltered over the next couple of weeks. So do keep your ears peeled for that. But for now, thanks very much for listening, and do subscribe on any platform you're enjoying the podcast on.
Thank you.